Welcome back. You're still watching eNCA's coverage of the passing of ANC veteran Andrew Mlangeni, whose death was confirmed by the presidency early this morning. He died at the age of 95. Let's speak to another ANC veteran now, Ms. Sophia De Bruyn, to get her reaction to this news of Mr. Mlangeni's passing. Ms. De Bruyn, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for speaking to eNCA. How are you feeling on the day that this news has been announced that Andrew Mlangeni is no more?
Very, very emotional. And when I heard the news, the sad news, I was very, very upset. But I would like to first offer my sincere condolences to his son, Cello, and to his two sisters, and also to his entire family, and all of the ANC family, and all the people that he associated with. My family's sincerest condolences.
Do you remember, Ms. De Bruyn, your first interaction with the late Andrew Mlangeni?
I knew Uncle Andrew, as I called him, because he was older, far older than what I am. So I used to call him Uncle Andrew. And I knew him from the old Congress days in the 50s. And I got to know him even better after they were released from Robben Island. And he traveled to Lusaka with Madiba and his beloved colleagues, where the ANC community awaited them excitedly. So that is where I first met him.
And in some of the tributes today, ma'am, a lot of people from the ANC and Tripartite Alliance have been saying that Andrew Mlangeni over the decades was, yes, among a group so senior, so prominent as the Rivona trialists of the 60s, but he was always sort of a workhorse, if you will, and shied away from the spotlight, as it were. Was that your experience of him?
Well, I knew him being like that. He wasn't a person that liked to beat his own breast. But I also worked with him after we set up Shell House, after we were all back home from exile, and we worked from Shell House. When he was appointed as a head of transport, and he had a team of drivers and a fleet of cars that he had to manage. And it wasn't an easy job for him, because here was a man who was locked up for so many years, and he had to manage an office with a team of young people that were the drivers of the ANC. And he also had to, excuse me, he also had to find and negotiate with the ANC leadership for cars, because this was under his department. And he had to provide cars for the whole ANC component. And so he had, the young people didn't always appreciate his strictness and his discipline. Mm-hmm. And so there was sometimes friction, but he was always very calm and always tried to speak to them in a fatherly way.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Bruyn,
hello?
Forgive me for jumping in there. I hear you battling somewhat with that cough, and you let me know if you're unable to continue with our conversation any longer. But I wanted to ask you a quick final question about what you think would be the best way in which we as South Africans can honour the late Andrew Mlangeni.
We should emulate, as South Africans, we should emulate the way he lived, his humility, all his values and his selflessness. He had respect for all humanity, and he was never afraid to speak to power. And I think we should continue following his examples. And I would appeal to the ANC membership in these difficult times that we are living in to continue to look up to such values that Uncle Andrew had.
Ms. Sophia De Bruyn, thank you so much for speaking to us on eNCA.